The all-new Mercedes C-Class convertible as the AMG, called Mercedes-AMG C63S Convertible, so the top sports variant of this open-top C-Class. That's on Autogefühl, your number one resource for in-depth cabrios and your number one community to discuss cars with Thomas. Going to experience the performance, of course, but also concentrate on the exterior, price of course as well, and the interior changes. We're going to tell you everything you need to know about this car. This is a very emotional variant with a lot of performance. Let's go now with Autogefühl in full HD, full length and full screen. We'll start. Whereas a normal C-Class convertible starts at about 42,000 euros, taking German prices as a reference, the C63 is double the price, already above 80,000 euros, and the S version above 90,000 euros, so a lot of money, of course. What are the changes? Here in the top AMG versions you get a stronger lower bump here, and car is already, you see it, very low sitting. The normal convertible sits 50 millimeters lower. This one here, another 30 millimeters lower than, so you got really a lot of contact to the ground. Optional LED beam here in the front, also with a daytime running light, of course. And the front grille is also changed. For example, if you pick even the AMG line, in the normal ones, you get this diamond pin grille, which I really like here. Two-fin design with the dark comp structure. So overall, a very aggressive layout here in the front. Side profile, while the normal C-Class convertible is just right below 4.70 meters in length, this one here is quite above 4.70 meters in length, because the stronger front bumper and also the rear part with the wing and the very strong shoulders, they even in length the car. Very fun fact. Starts with 18-inch rims. These ones here are the optional 19-inch in a special AMG design, and you also got the V8 bi-turbo logo here on the side as well. And carbon fiber, strong lower bumpers, that makes the car even more aggressive. And also in the side profile you see that the car is sitting lower, and I'll make a freeway just for one side profile look, especially with this contrasting red roof you can get. Very nice fit to the gray color. What about the roof that is opening until a speed of 50 kilometers an hour? Well, here this very car is not spec'd with the keyless entry, and that means I cannot open it with the key from the outside. How that works you can see in our other C-Class convertible video, but here I have to get inside to do that. So apply the brakes, and there it is. Always great and interesting to see a roof opening process, no question.
Please follow the arrow.
No GPS. So there it is. What do you think about the roof opening process? As I said, it works until a speed of 50 kilometers an hour, and there's also a special button to raise all or lower all the windows at the same time. And you see here there's a belt reacher, also practical solution, so I don't have to grab so far behind. And then there's also this so-called air cap function optionally available. You see it here in the front. There's a shield raising that the wind is getting boosted over the car, and also another wind deflector has been hired in the rear. This is the best solution for 4 people open top driving. If you're only driving with 2 people, then it's better not to go for this option. There's also a classic wind deflector available for the rear part. Then manually all of the rear seats are blocked, but there's better wind protection inside. And finally the rear, this is the most aggressive part and you can best differentiate from the other normal models because you have the special sport exhaust, 4 pipes, also with the AMG logo on top of it, carbon fiber elements around it, and also this rear wing, again from the carbon fiber. And you can see, contrast to the sedan version of the C-Class, the taillights are drawn horizontally, and I really prefer that. Definitely the same we've already seen with the Coupe. By the way, if you're interested in the C-Class Coupe, there's a review on that on Autogefühl. I will also link that in the video description. And more convertible versions. Also this one here, the C63S in matte white. And for example also the C400, more details to the convertible in general. If you're dreaming of that one but will buy maybe the less horsepower version, there's also an extensive in general C convertible review on Autogefühl. It's also linked in the video description. Here we'll continue with the power version. You can see it in detail with the seatbelt help. As soon as I close the door, it slides to the front. When I open the door, get inside, it draws back. Close the door, when I sit down, goes here again. This is a great help, isn't it? Let's get into the interior. And this one here, the AMG interior, is of course a little bit more special. Usually you get the standard sport seats. You can see them on the normal C convertible review as well. And you also get them for the AMG version. Those ones here, you also a little bit of sound of the AMG in the background. Those ones here are the special AMG sports seats. You can get optional. You see they have more side support, but also, you know, they're harder, of course, in general. And I usually do not recommend them. And no matter what, if you pick the standard seats, they start with Dynamica on the inside, microfiber, and Artico leatherette on the outside. I love it, really, that Mercedes is offering that. Also in the top level, they are offering real leather alternatives. However, those ones here, the bucket seats, also with the genuine leather equipment, we do not recommend. So because top test vehicles are usually just spec'd with the highest stuff you can get. Then also my favorite feature, Alcantara, or in this case a company of Dynamica, steering wheel here on the outside, that you get a good soft grip for your racing style, flattened end. And we see a lot of racing elements, for example here with those carbon fiber inlets in the middle part with the AMG logo as well, so all set on the very sporty ride. And let me get inside. And recently, I know best greetings to Ethan in the UK, because he has bought the C63, the Coupe, after watching our review. And he went for my advice to go for the, not for the bucket seats here, but for the standard seats, and also with dynamic on the inside, standard equipment, leatherette on the outside. And he said, Thomas, this was the best advice you can give me, really satisfied with those, so I can also recommend you those one then here. Seating position in general, well, it's still comfortable as for, you know, comparing it with other true sports cars, because the basis remains a mid-size sedan, and therefore this one is always more comfortable than the normal ones. But as I said, you can go with bigger comfort if you just leave it with the standard seats, and also can save some money. Sporty cockpit in general, of course, flattened steering wheel is good for my long legs. And well, it feels like you should just start going. And well, lumbar support we do have here. Here another electric control, for example, for the side of the seat. Here I can pump up the side, and also with this one I can pump up those here, the very side parts of the rear part, and everything else is controlled right here. For example, sliding in the front and back, and also the rear part. And this here is the seat heating placed here. Very nice, by the way, with the cloth and the matte aluminum. I love this style. A very great interior build quality we see. Instruments, special AMG instruments here, also with the checkered background, and in the middle part you also get special AMG instruments for temperature and stuff. And also there's G meter available, G-force meter, and for example a lap timer for your laps on the Nürburgring. Lower middle console, classic MMI, well, you call it that way at Audi. The multimedia interface here for scrolling in the map and, you know, going in the menu and pressing to select something. Always can go back here, or also can go back with this button. Volume control. Here in the AMG version we also got the special exhaust button to make it even louder, this special sport exhaust. And on the left hand side you can control the driving modes, go to less ESP control, for example, and also that the gears are turned up higher when you go to a sport mode here. Suspension can be also stiffened up by that one. No airmatic suspension available here for the AMG models, but you can still adjust them. So, but of course not less comfort, but more sportiness. And the convertible roof controls right here for the roof and for the air cap. Also gives us a light here when we activate it. And here this is the control where I could raise or lower all of the four windows at the same time. Infotainment, that's it here as we zoom in and out. We are near Trieste today. Special greetings to our Italian friends, and grazie for watching Autogefühl. And the rest of the menu is hidden here. Connecting the phone via Bluetooth is possible. Select media, Bluetooth music, for example. And vehicle information is always a little bit special with the AMG models. Here, oh wow, I also got a sporty visualization. 360 camera is available here optionally. Fake drone view from above. Here I can also see to the rear, or also a little bit to the sides of the rear when you're parking out the car. Good safety feature, definitely. And dynamic select, for example, there you can see some information, individual configuration, if you just want the suspension to be stiffer, for example. Vehicle data, always fun to watch while driving. Turning of the wheels here, this is the red dot for a G meter that also goes to the red and front. Very nice feature as well, if you want to play around a little bit. And engine data, we'll let that one run when we drive the car, that we see the horsepower turning up, 510 horsepower here in the C63S model from that V8. Storage spaces inside of the doors. It's here quite shallow. Then the glove box, that is quite huge, also nice with the sparing out of the air vent. Great designing with the metal aluminum as well, by the way. Then if we continue over to the carbon fiber, again this mechanism from a good quality slides down very smoothly. 12-volt power supply, adaptive beverages holders in here, and you can place your smartphone, for example. But if you want to charge your smartphone, you can go to the middle armrest console. That I really like that feature that it opens here symmetrically. 2 USB slots inside, and good space, for example, for your camera equipment if you store them temporarily, some action camera or stuff. I always like to put them there. And what about the versatility of this car? Also, if you have the bucket seats, they can be flipped right here and move forward electronically. That's a nice feature to get in the rear. Of course, while traveling with 4 adults, it's easy to get inside when the roof is opened. I've already tested it also with the roof closed. Headspace wise, I have to sit like this, so headspace wise limited, and knee space wise, I'm kind of blocked in now, and the front driver also doesn't have too much space. So it does work with 4 adults, yes. Maybe not for the longest trip. And when it's open top, it's always easier because the roof goes like here. You can also see it in detail again in the full view of the whole C convertible overview. But driving is open top, also with the air cap system. is also a lot of fun. You can have a lot of fun with 4 people here, especially as all 4 people can hear the power exhaust in this case. Then the trunk, by the way, the key, it's still a classic style. I would expect maybe a new one. Meanwhile, has the AMG logo on here, the key, and then on the here AMG logo. And on the other side, I can open the trunk. If the roof is folded up, then I could also put that one in, then have more height in the trunk. But you see, it is still possible here to put backpacks in here. That is possible. You can see it, slide them away, and so that also works when you put that one here not up. So, but you have to, you know, play around with it a little bit. So you do have the space, for example, to go to the airport with 4 people. That basically works. And 2 buttons in here and here. And then, magic, I can better show you that from this side here. You can flip down the seats, remove the belts, there it is. And you can see, there are our trolleys. You can, well, if your surfboard isn't too big, also a surfboard could maybe fit in there. That's a way to make the convertible ride here even more versatile. And beneath the hood, this V8, here says the sign, handcrafted by the Angelo Di Maro. And this was one man, one engine concept. This V8 here in the C63S has 510 horsepower, acceleration of 0 to 100 kilometers an hour for 4.1 seconds. The C63 withoat S is 4.2 seconds. So 4 liter of displacement here. However, if you go for the V6 with 3 liter in the C43 AMG, the so-called AMG Light version, it already has most of the AMG features inside, but with the all-wheel drive, this one here rear-wheel drive, the C43 would then be all-wheel drive, but predominantly with a rear-wheel bias. Again, as I said, V6 when the 3 liters of displacement, and the acceleration there from 0 to 100 kilometers or 0 to 60 miles an hour is about 1 second more than. So this one here, of course, the fastest version, but the other ones already fast as well. Some of you might wonder, what about the launch control? Here at the Mercedes models, you do not have to turn off the ESP completely. It's enough when you go into sport mode and then hammer the brake and both shifting pedals at the same time. Here pressing, then shift the pedal up, then the race start is active. You can press the brake with the left foot and right foot. Here, the throttle, and then you could release the brake. Here today it's very wet, it would make no sense, but we have tested it with the coupe version if you want to see the launch control in action. And now the riding part with the C63S. Ooh, got the sport exhaust on as well. I can also show you the difference. Off is like this, listen. Already loud, of course. And now switching it on. Okay, I think you heard the difference even on camera. And I'm rather staying in the comfort mode here. The road is still wet, and even in the comfort mode, you've seen it on our shots from the outside and maybe also seen it now here. Even in the comfort mode, this is here rear-wheel drive only, car slides out. So the more handy car for the everyday riding is the C43 or the C400 with the all-wheel drive. You got better control. You still got rear-wheel bias, 70-30%. But here only rear-wheel drive, and that's so much power on the rear wheels. You can rather only control it on dry ground. And as soon as you go, for example, into the sport mode, then the ESP, the stability control, is drawn back, and then you got even more rear wheel spin. And that's even harder to control, really just good for the dry racetrack. So we'll have some handy corners as well that you can enjoy that as well. Wow, that's of course a big difference from the sound, also again from the C43, definitely. Question is, do you really need it? Do you really want it? It's can be very emotional, but well, double the price, and the C43, for example, is around 60,000, the C400 as well. That's for a lot of people more realistic, then go for above 80,000 for the C63 then. Also, the head-up display is a little bit different here, and that one looks sportier. The RPM meter is stressed. There's no Airmatic air suspension available here, but we can still change the suspension from the 3 driving modes. So when I go to the sport mode, gears turn up higher and also got more contact. The steering wheel itself, the steering is more direct. Oh, we got a great connection to the road. That's a difference, for example, from riding the C400. Here you need less turning and you can stay with both hands on the steering wheel all the time. And Sport Plus, maybe heard that as well, exhaust even louder. The exhaust button gets activated automatically when I'm in the Sport Plus mode, and suspension even a little bit stiffer. If you really want the most comfortable ride, then you have to go for the air suspension in the C400. As soon as you go to the C43 or then C63, you get the sport suspension, which is a rather classical one, and there you can not have the air suspension. It's still a comfortable suspension, no question, a great suspension, but here the sportiness is really stressed. And I mean, as it's still adaptive, you can also choose it between this ratio, how sporty you want it or not. So this is, by the way, the race mode, the final mode. This is only for the racetrack, because there you can really let the rear end slide out even on dry terrain. So we're going to change direction here now, and that we can go up the hill again to show you some more funny stuff. By the way, here now you see one push at the throttle and the rear end slides out, especially when the road is a little bit wet here. So I'm going to the comfort mode. Little wheel spin is allowed there, but then the electronic stability control catches the car, because here on public roads I don't want to risk so much for me and of course for other people. But I'm putting the exhaust button on that you can enjoy this ride, and I would say I'll pause my speaking for just a second. Enjoy. Also using the shifting pedals here now to have a little bit more fun, to be in a lower gear for you. And one more time and another mode here, Sport Plus mode, and then also the shifting. Got that one? When I'm shifting up and down. So if in the Sport Plus mode, the shifting transitions are even harder, and shifting down, you got that throttle blip. So, wow, that's a sport experience, and of course still makes a difference if you have the roads to drive that one. Then that's of course always something you need to have, because just in normal traffic you don't have too many chances to drive in such a way then. So now we get on the public road to show you some normal riding. It's always also part, because you can also go in the comfort mode then, and if you leave the exhaust button deactivated, just on normal RPM you can drive it relatively silent. And going over some bumps here now on the normal surface road, it's not that uncomfortable actually. So the sport suspension, although the car also sits lower, here in the C-Class convertible you can still drive comfortable, and that's also a big difference, for example, to some of the very true sports cars. That's why I usually also recommend, when someone asks me, I want a great sporty car, but I also want to maybe use it as a primary car, then this one here would still work. It does not have to be a secondary car, although it's an AMG. And I think that's also a very good key finding here. So I would have expected it to be less comfortable, but it's definitely sporty enough. Really love the steering wheel with the Alcantara sides. I'm not sure if that is also possible that you can order it in the standard version. That's so complicated with the German premium cars because you have so many options, and then some of the markets are again then different, you know, as for the trim levels, and you really have to dig deep into the price list that you can see it. Such a nice direct handling here. And driving with the open top is of course always enjoyable. I've talked about it also with the air cap, better protection when you got the big wind deflector in the rear, and you can get that. It's not spec'd with this car here. Why is Mercedes offering it here? Because in the E-Class convertible, funny fact, 80% of the customers went for the air cap system. Okay, E-Class convertible, maybe also different customer groups now. The C-Class a little bit smaller. There will be a new E-Class convertible as well. That is then really huge. But still, I think a lot of people will pick the air cap system. But if you watch this review and don't have rear passengers quite often, then I can really tell you, go for the big wind deflector. Then you can always also drive 0 degrees Celsius in the winter times, 120 on the Autobahn. That will work. With the air cap, no. You just have the advantage is you have the two people in the rear then. So, strange thing is, well, with the Airmatic suspension I've tested in the C400, if you want to go for more comfort, check out our other review. That will also be very interesting with we get all of the versions presented there, AMG line, comparison, also C63 and stuff from the exterior, interior. But driving focus is on the C400 there in the other review. Now driving faster with a little bit slalom, oh, so great to have this direct control. And again, I have to stress that here with Mercedes, one of the very few brands where you can go high trim levels, the sportiest car, and still, for example, have dynamic car seats, microfiber seats on the inside and outside this Artico faux leather. So a very enjoyable ride we had here with this car, no question. Maybe to close that one here up, one more of the exhaust with the exhaust pipe. You can also let the car roll and then switch into neutral for a second and say, hello, I'm here. And now the conclusion, C63S Convertible. What a sporty ride, and not that uncomfortable as I would have expected. The air suspension you can, for example, get for the C400 is of course more comfortable. That would be a unique selling point. If you want the all-wheel drive, you can also pick the C43, which has been changed from the C450 to a C43 true AMG model, because all of the suspension stuff, it's still, and then also the 3-level ESP adjustment, it is also taken here from the top AMG models. So the C43 is already now a true AMG model, just the one-man, one-engine concept with the V8 that is reserved for the C63 then. And what a great sound we have here. So that is of course also a unique selling factor with this car, definitely. And the question is, do you have the money for it? And do you need such a power? Because we've seen as soon as the roads are a little bit wet, there's even too much power to really be able to control it. So the best pick for an AMG model, price performance, would be the C43. So I would more pick that one. And me personally, I would think I would go for the C400 because you got the air suspension there. And this one can be also very well used as a cruising car. However, if you have a dry road and great countryside road, this of course offers you great fun with the direct steering and the great sporty suspension, especially with the Alcantara steering wheel. And again, very good that you also have non-genuine leather options here already in a car that is, well, with some of the extras, close to 100,000 euros, and that's also well done there. Interior build quality also from a great perspective, and the front, I'm more feel for the diamond pin grille, but of course in general I really like the front of the car and also the interior design. Tell us your opinion about the AMG model. Would you go for the 63 model, for a 43 model, or maybe the other, the C400 convertible, or the less power? maybe you dream of this car, but buy the one with, maybe a small petrol engine, then you can also check out our other full review of the C Convertible. I hope you enjoyed this trip here today with Thomas on Autogefühl, and I'm quite sure we'll see each other at our next episode.